She was a queen, dressed in power, crowned in pride, and unshaken by fear. Her name was Jezebel, and from the moment she stepped into Israel's palace, the kingdom began to change. Jezebel wasn't born into Israel's faith. She was a Phoenician princess, daughter of a pagan king, a worshiper of Baal, not the God of Israel. When she married King Ahab, she didn't just bring a wedding dowry. She brought idols, altars, and false prophets by the hundreds. The people of Israel were being pulled in two directions: the God who freed them and the queen who ruled them. And Jezebel, she didn't just tolerate the difference, she declared war on the truth. One by one, she had the prophets of the Lord hunted down and killed. She silenced voices that spoke righteousness, except one voice she couldn't silence: Elijah. Elijah challenged her husband to a contest on Mount Carmel, the prophets of Baal versus the one true God. Fire from heaven would decide who was real. Jezebel wasn't there, but she heard what happened. God sent fire. Baal stayed silent. Elijah won, but Jezebel didn't back down. She sent a message: by this time tomorrow, you'll be dead. And Elijah ran. Even the boldest prophet trembled at the sound of Jezebel's threat. That's how fierce she was. How feared. Years passed, but Jezebel's heart stayed hard. When a man named Naboth refused to sell his vineyard, she wrote letters in Ahab's name, staged false witnesses, and had Naboth killed, just so her husband could have his land. Her hands were soaked in deception, and her soul grew darker with every scheme. But God was not blind. Through Elijah, he spoke again. Dogs will devour Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. Time went on. Kings rose and fell. And finally, judgment came. Jezebel painted her eyes, dressed herself like royalty, and stood in her palace window. Even at the end, she clung to pride. But her enemies were at the gates. At the command of a new king, her own servants threw her down. Her body hit the ground, and just as the prophecy said, she was gone. Jezebel had influence, beauty, and position, but she used it to manipulate, to control, and to oppose the truth. Her story is a reminder: power without humility leads to destruction, and no one, not even a queen, can silence God forever.